get this going. I'll start recording September, what's today, the 16th?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know where the time is going. September 16th. And I cut us down from every 2 weeks when it was crazy with, or actually every week when it was crazy with the COVID season, to once every 2 weeks to once a month to now I actually just switched it to every other month just because it's kind of a slower time for the basketball directors that participate. So there won't be a meeting next month, but then the month after there will be in November. So, and it'll be every third Wednesday I put on in case you kind of want to just in your mind in general have an idea. But it is out on the calendar for those who can participate. And people have emailed and said, I can't be there, but I would love to see the recording. I know that we have a couple big topics. COVID, transitioning from the summer and getting numbers from COVID into the fall season of what people are doing right now and what options are there. I wanted to encourage anyone who's listening who has not filled out their survey, which I did send in an email again today with the link to please fill out that survey because the more numbers we have, the more valid our data is, and it will all be anonymous. But from the responses that we received out of, and this was really a handful, only a handful of clubs that responded, there was over 1,000 athletes accounted for, and I want to say, as far as COVID numbers, let me just make sure I tell you, there was only 16 positive athletes out of 1,025 athletes from the numbers that I've received. Yeah. And all recovered, none were hospitalized. And so with that, I know that there are schools and districts that have moved their sports seasons from fall to spring. Some are running. Some school districts, there are coaches who are concerned that they still may not have a basketball season. And so this survey is really about sharing real evidence in our own area from all of the tournaments and the interaction we had all summer, and the positive outcome from that.
Oh, that's good. That's positive.
Yeah. So if you haven't gotten your survey done, please use the link to fill it out. It only takes like 2 minutes. That would be awesome. Hey, Eddie's here. How are you, Eddie? It's good to see you. It's been a bit.
I'm doing good. How's everybody doing?
Good. Does anybody have any response from their time regarding COVID and numbers? You know, how did things finish up in your clubs this summer? Good experience?
Yeah,
we just did online stuff, so we weren't really affected. I know 2 of my coaches got it. That's all I really know. Yeah, we just couldn't get facilities to run our programs was our biggest roadblock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you were shut down all summer. I hear Fond du Lac is still up in the air, right? Or no?
You know, like St. Mary Springs is in 5 days a week. Fond du Lac is doing 2 days in and then 3 days out. And the worst part of that was they made the decision like a week or two before school started. It was just a train wreck. Mm-hmm. There were parents scrambling to it's terrible. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah. And WLA's in school. So, and I think North Fond du Lac and Camel Sport are cyber, or they're doing 2 days out, 2 days in, 3 days out.
Okay. Eddie, how are you down by you?
We were pretty good. So we did 11U girls, 14U girls, two 15 boys, 16s and 17s. Most of those teams have either 10 or 12 players. And we were able to put together a season for all of those teams. And I think there were scenarios where we were about to play a team and then they would have a COVID situation. I think that happened twice with girls and once with boys. And then at the end, very end for 11U, we had a girl who had COVID, but it didn't really affect the program as a whole because, again, they were already done. It was just like we got done playing basketball, and then her mom let us know 2 days later that some people might want to get checked out, and everybody else checked out fine. So so I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant to say if I had one case versus 0 cases because it came up after my season was done. So I'm still debating on that side of promotion right now.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and you can view it as, well, it was a kid in your program and it was so close. So even if you include it, I don't think it would make, if we were looking at numbers, too much of an impact, because I think I said it was 16 out of 1,000 plus that we have in the survey so far. And that, if I do the math right, equates to 0.015% of the athletes that are accounted for that had a positive COVID result. So I thought that was really good for as much as all of the interaction and action going on and the travel that teams did.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
TR, how about you? How are you doing?
We were good. I think we ended up running 3 teams. So our 17U, a 16U, and then it was 12 or 13U.
Okay.
Total out of those players throughout, there was practices that happened, some practices that didn't. So we had spans of time where we wouldn't be together, and during the time that we weren't together, I think we had a total of 4 cases. So one family, and then another case of a couple of athletes. So it didn't affect the entire program because they weren't around during all the time when parents let us know. So we're still able to travel Indianapolis for that 1 week, and then we went back again for the Roses tournament with a modified team for some of those 21s that wanted to get back out there. But pretty much an abbreviated. I mean, I think we got all of the games in that we said we were going to get in, all the tournaments. Mm-hmm. Just a different environment with not having coaches there.
Yeah, it was. We were told that there was, like at the Champion Center when we ran Recruit Wisconsin, it was kind of one of the only events that they let the coaches in. Because when we ran Hardwood Hustle, I'm like, what? No coaches. You let them in last time. But I was like, oh, it was so nice to have just that one that just feel like you got to play in front of people, even though the video cameras were always there. Yeah, it was absolutely different. So hopefully everybody got as much video that they can to keep passing that on to college coaches. And my worry, again, for these, especially the 2021s, is that seems like that might be all they have from this past summer and then going into this school year, because, we're still, basketball might start late, or it might not, either November, or it might not start till January. And it's still up in the air on what NCAA will allow. Like, will they allow them to come watch high school games? Not sure. Yeah. But we just keep plugging along and doing what we can with what we have. Mark, how are things over on your side of the state?
Yeah. Well, when it just came to Team Wisconsin with COVID. We only had the one close call. I'm sure Carr told you about it before, and that was just due to one of our coaches who's a sister of was a sister on my team, and she got it, but the player did not, and so we only had one coach that actually got it, and no players this summer. And I think we had 6 teams this summer.
Awesome. Yeah, we ended up having, between the boys and girls, we had 12 teams, and we had one coach who was exposed to somebody who tested positive, and he had symptoms for a day, but his test actually didn't come back positive or negative. It was abnormal, which was weird. I haven't heard that from anybody else. And then we had 2 young girls from one team early on in the first week of practice test positive. So we had to we quarantined that team for the remainder of the time, the 7 days after we found out. And otherwise, we had no other cases. And we also were running trainings too. So that was really good. I think it's actually, I don't know how high quality the sports are on TV. I haven't had a chance to watch, but hopefully seeing the college football running, pro football and basketball as well. Hopefully things kind of run its course and people get back to some sort of remembrance of what normalcy feels like, and maybe it'll feel better once we get back to things, and hopefully we can start opening up. I got that herd immunity concept going on in my head. Like herd immunity, it's going through herd immunity.
Well, we're running a fall ball program. Actually, we're using Just a Game Fieldhouse.
Okay.
And we're doing them on Sunday afternoons in October. And we're going noon to 4. They gave us the facility. And because they don't have anything going on. And we're just bringing all of our kids from all over the state. 4 times in October. We're telling them to bring their own basketball, their own jump rope, their own water bottle. They have to walk in with a mask. They don't have to wear it when they're working out. And when they get off the court, put it on and leave. So, yeah, so we're just moving forward, and we're doing this, try to bridge the gap for next year, and hopefully they'll have a basketball season.
Yeah, that's good. So your fall ball is consistent, or is made up of like the training, like a camp 4 times?
Yeah, we're just running skills and drills and camps, clinics, and just getting the kids in the gym.
Okay. We decided to also do fall ball as well, and do something that our trainings are always going on and optional, and people can sign up for those, but we decided to do what we're kind of used to, which is have so many team practices and 3 tournaments. So we're going to offer, we've offered up 9 team practices for sure, and then 3 tournaments around the state. And because we don't have, or we're figuring it out this week, but because we're not sure how many courts and space we'll have, we're not going to be able to provide it for all of our teams. So we'll take like a high school boys and girls team for sure and provide that opportunity, and then a couple youth teams for the teams that have the most interest. And we did get a survey back from our families, and there was actually, I was surprised, there is almost everybody wants to have a fall season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there are still families who either they don't have anything for their kids going on because either the school district or the community that they're in, or they might be in school cross country or volleyball, but they still want to do something. So just to bridge those empty times. So we are going to move forward with that. I know that there are Prep Hoops is running a 250 Expo in Appleton for an event. And so some of our kids are entered into that. what about you guys for fall? I know that there's options in terms of tournaments and leagues. So I wanted to make sure that if you guys heard of anything that you can share on our end in Appleton. I know Blizzard's running leagues for youth, girls and boys. Boys, I believe, are on Tuesday nights, 2 games for 4 or 5 weeks. Girls are on Thursday nights. High school is running on Wednesday nights through Prep Hoops for girls. I don't know if it's for guys too. I want to say it is. And then on Sundays, Blizzard is running a league for high school girls on Sundays for basketball. Oh, and Mary has one running that started this past Sunday, a league in Milwaukee. TR or Eddie, are you guys in that at all?
I haven't. Well, I'm not in it per se as a program, but I'm not sure if I have athletes that have jumped over.
So is the WIAA trying to decide if there's going to be a basketball season or not?
Yeah, I don't know. With that league question, TR, I know that when I looked at the list, and I didn't look at exactly who was on all the teams, it did look like there was a mix of school teams and maybe some AAU teams as well. So you may have some girls entered. Not sure.
Yeah, it's quite possible. Yeah, it's quite possible. I mean, Mary's been doing that for years, bringing girls together to do that, and also and some of the D2 coaches the time to come and take a look.
Yeah, she said that actually. She told me there were, she had both D2 and D3 coaches there, which is awesome. I thought that was great. And I'm like, oh goodness, if I was 1 week more ahead, maybe I would have been able to enter. I was a little bit behind the 8 ball, but maybe in the future or what's coming locally for us. So, so TR then, or Mark or Eddie, or are you guys doing anything for fall at all with your teams, or you're just keeping it and pushing it off for spring and summer like normal?
We have a couple teams that are in a couple tournaments. I know one of our teams is going to the USJN tournament down in Davenport. Okay. And then we have we just set up a bunch of what we call skills weekends where we have open gym /skills. So they come in and do a bunch of skill work with our coaches.
Okay. Where are you practicing, Mark?
We're a couple different places. We're going to the Eau Claire warehouse, and then also we have a gym in Alaska. We have a family that built their own gym there.
Oh, really? Cool. That's great.
Awesome.
For me, we always have done like fall training opportunities for our program players in particular, and anyone else that was interested. And then, traditionally there's usually a WBCA or a WC or a WSN showcase that we'll recommend for our players to go to as well. And I haven't seen too much of that. I know that NWADA LA has a couple opportunities coming up. And then with my 12U girls group, they're just a special group. So I am going to go ahead and run them through the fall as well and just kind of see where things go.
When you guys talk about fall, do you know how late you're talking? Because I know typically in Wisconsin, we're a little, I just heard my Wisconsin slang. I've been here a long time. I know that tournaments that are run through, I could say end of October, typically through early or middle of March, the event directors, or I should say the venues in those events, don't typically allow AAU teams in those. Have you heard if they're, I wish there was some of them on here, if they're going to do it different at all this year?
Sure. So for me, I think there are 2 events ahead that actually are in the winter, but they both are USJN events, I believe, or one is Spiece at Fort Wayne and the other one's USJN. So I didn't see, when I was registering, I didn't see anything that was conflicting for travel teams to go to. Again, that's just a interesting group. They it was like their first year of AAU of travel basketball. It was during COVID. They had a successful season, and they just want to keep it going. Even though when I showed them, like, yeah, well, there's some events, but we have to go here and here, everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. So we just kind of have keeping it going.
So they were willing to travel
Yeah, for
a little
sure.
bit farther in order to get those competitive
Yeah,
games.
on the girls' side, there was never any hesitation at all.
Awesome.
From the beginning. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Mark, do you think you might go farther than fall with your group?
I think we're just kind of playing it out, just, you know, doing the fall first and then kind of seeing what happens from there.
Well, hey, I got a question, Lisa and Mark. Are you, because of WIA rules, if they do have a season, can you still run AAU? Because I don't think kids can participate in competitions outside of their WIA season if the season's going. If the season's not going, I would think we'd have the green light to do that, right?
Yeah, I would probably agree that's correct. That's why we're just focusing on just the fall right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know it's from and that would be high school for sure, but middle school, I don't know. It's so weird because some middle school athletes, their schools are part of the WIA, and I know some aren't. And that's kind of a mixed bag and might impact things. So I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that more specifically.
Well, I think it's a different year, so I don't know how they can limit kids to doing stuff if they want to be part of something.
Yeah, for
You know
example.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
if Appleton isn't, for example, if Appleton isn't running at all through November and December, but maybe they start in January, you would think that they wouldn't or couldn't say, no, you can't go play for a club, because I don't know if they would have the power or authority to be able to do that when they're not providing something. So, yeah. So that's too why we decided to just schedule something for fall, no later for our youth team. Is November 8th was our last date for a tournament, and for a high school, the end of October.
Lisa?
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that if you know how you made the comment that if like the middle schools, if some of them are WIA, you know, I don't know what the word is, if they're WIA part of that affiliated,
yep,
then they cannot play in a tournament.
If they have a season, right?
Right.
Yeah. Do you know if if WIA changed it at all for this year? If they don't, I guess, have a season.
Yeah, if they don't, then I don't think there's an issue, but that's something that we'd have to check on. But I would say there's not an issue then if the WIA is not playing games, then I would think that if AAU is allowing it, then they can.
When are they going to make a decision?
Well, I know that there was.
Anybody know?
There was that big meeting before school started. I did not get a chance to read all those changes in full. Anybody else? It was a long meeting.
Yeah. Well, aren't they basically sending it back to the counties to make decisions for youth sports? Because aren't some football teams playing and some aren't? Like Fond du Lac High School canceled their fall sports.
Yeah, you mean like conferences?
Yeah.
And school districts. Yeah, the school districts, it comes down to the school district on whether or not they're going to allow their...
The Board of Education makes the decision.
Yes.
And it's based on what the county recommends, I would think, right?
Yes. And I know that our conference, for example, volleyball in Fox Valley, for the FVA, Fox Valley Association, all 3 Appleton schools are closed down, so they're not playing school volleyball. And oh boy, who was the other one? I forget, but that's like 1/3 of the conference. So it seemed, from what I saw in media, it sounded like there was another conference that was put together, because I saw something pushed out from Hortonville, that there was this new conference that they're actually playing in. So they must have, different schools must have gotten together to combine and create a new conference so that those teams could continue to play since those school districts allowed them to. And it's just going to be a different year, I think, for everybody. And then there's going to be some that are playing in spring or February, March, which impacts club volleyball. So we're trying to figure that out on our end as well, for our program. But I think I knew today was going to be brief. I know that there's tournaments going on that teams can be entered in. There's leagues going on, which is good. There's the Prep Hoops is doing different things up at the Champion Center for basketball athletes, boys and girls. I wasn't sure if Just a Game has, I know they from what I saw.
They're running, we got in on Sundays because they didn't have anything, but they are running things on Saturdays.
Yeah, I saw tournaments posted.
Yeah.
Then they still have tournaments that are posted starting in November that say school teams only. So I wonder if they may change that based on what may or may not happen with school districts and the WIAA. So I think things may or may not open up at Just a Game. So I have to keep an eye on that. Any other updates? I was just going to open it up for the end here with our last few minutes. If anybody has any questions or comments.
What about scheduling for next year?
In terms of events?
Yeah, we'll probably adjust that because I'm already scheduling out.
Mm-hmm.
My attorney for HLC basically said she thinks by next spring and we'll be up and running. She really believes that.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't really say much about the sports at the school, so.
Yeah.
But she really believes that, which is a blessing for us.
Right. Right.
You know, so I'm just planning everything for next year and we're just moving forward. We're doing our fall ball. And if WIA cancels, they probably have the authority to cancel all the basketball seasons, right? And if they do that, then maybe we need to put things together and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
And put together a winter AAU season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do y'all think of that? Do something.
Yeah.
Right?
We take no vacations, right?
Well, I'm thinking, they got to make a decision here pretty quick, don't they?
Well, I don't know. They didn't make decisions. School districts didn't make decisions until the week before.
That was a train wreck, wasn't it?
I think you're going to see the same thing as football, where you might have some that can and some that can't.
Yeah.
Well,
there's that whole wave of what we don't know as well as when the flu is active and how they respond to that. I think that'll be very telling as well, you know. And when people talk about that time frame of flu season and technically middle of the basketball season, has the season already started, it's just interesting what the response will be. You know, as far as, is it fan attendance? Were we already letting fans in, or did we decide that we weren't? Or do we plan for flu season? I also worry about just like everyone freaking out during the flu season as well, and everything just getting shut back down.
Well, that's happening now, Eddie.
Well, actually, Eddie, that's a good point with, I just picture teams, how if somebody is tested positive, like, are they going to cancel that game? You know, or
even like Janesville schools, they had like 2 kids in a row and then they sent everybody home at every age level, like right away, just in the middle of the day. You know, parents prepared for a regular school year, and in the middle of the day, they're like, nope, online. See you guys later.
Right.
Yeah, it's tough stuff. Well, my neighbor has it, and I think he's in his early 50s. And he quarantined for 2 weeks. He worked from home, but he had a mild headache, you know, a little bit of a fever. He was out cutting his grass the other day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think the numbers are that the majority of us recover from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Good thing.
So.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, Lisa, maybe we should contact WIA to see what they're doing for basketball. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just And
See,
if they're not going to allow a season, then we should see what we can put together.
yeah. Yeah, and I think like fall, it would just be, whoever's running the tournaments at the different venues. Because I highly doubt if school districts shut down their winter season that they would want private entities using their facilities, just like what happened with summer. So, yeah. But as long as there's not getting deathly ill, I think that's a good thing for the world to keep moving forward. So, anybody else have any final words besides stay healthy?
Well, keep us in the loop if you hear something from WIAA. I mean, we're good for, we're doing stuff in October with our program. But if things don't fly, maybe we can run a 6-week program in November, December. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we would do too, because I feel like, things may change or turn around or be rescheduled for January. So if we did anything, let's say we're done first week in November.
For a basketball season, you mean?
Yeah, we would take a week or not, and we would provide something middle of November till maybe 4 weeks till the middle of December before Christmas. So maybe 5 weeks. But there's Thanksgiving in there. It's always hairy around the holidays. So, yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, if you guys don't have anything else to add or want to add, or if there's any other topics you want to talk about next time, let me know. I can put it on the agenda. If I find anything as I continue to listen to WIAA, I'll go on their websites. I can reach out to them. I don't know if they'll tell me anything until they make decisions, but if I find anything out, I'll pass that along to you. So.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Lisa, for hosting.
Thanks, Cheryl.
To connect. All right, take care.
Bye, guys.
See you later.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.